what is mental health to you?
I would say that mental health affects us all. I'm well aware of the 1 in 4 figures, but I believe it's much, much higher than that. I think every single person is affected by mental health in some way or another, whether that's a family member, a friend, or just people in general. And I think when it becomes, there becomes a need for intervention, is when that mental health starts to affect the person's quality of life. And that's my understanding of it, that's when they need that bit of extra support to help move through that. But I think everyone has moments where their mental health isn't great, myself included. So
do you think it's mainly projected on young people today, so like the pressures and stuff?
I think for young people today it's extremely difficult. We have a whole new wave with this social media. We have people that are almost developing mental health problems out of desperation for likes and for friends, and all of a sudden the things that people could leave behind at school, college, university, whatever, they can't anymore. It follows them everywhere they go on their phone. And I think the stigma as well is still quite high, which is really unfortunate. I think good steps are being made to reduce that, and I think that a lot of good things are going on particularly in the student community for raising awareness of mental health. But I still think we've got a long way to go.
Do you think there is too much stigma then about like mental health?
I think there can be. I still think there's a lot of people out there that are scared and that just don't understand, and they aren't willing to take the time to understand. But with my experience of mental health, I've found that every single person I've met with mental health has got something amazing to offer. And no matter how difficult a time they're having, they're still a person just like you and me. They can still hold a conversation just like you and me. And even the people that can't hold a conversation have something amazing to offer. And to be scared and to keep yourselves away from people with mental health, I think is a real shame for people in general, because they won't get to know some of the most amazing people in our community.
Okay,
and they're missing out.
How do you think other people can help with that? So say if you know someone with mental health, how do you think they can help?
See, I know it sounds a bit of a cliche, but I think just keep talking about it. Keep talking. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to hide. And it's not something that people need to go through on their own. As I said, I believe everyone suffers with some form of irrational thought or mental health throughout their lives. And if you just have that conversation with somebody, they might go, oh, I felt that way last week. And all of a sudden the biggest problem feels tiny.
Okay, so what else? What kind of things do you think helpful for those in a bad place? So to distract them or something like that.
I think one of the biggest things, which is a huge part of the ethos of this centre, is social support, is having someone to talk to. A lot of our membership may go home at the end of the day and have absolutely no conversation other than what they've had here. And it makes such a massive difference in someone's life, just that someone's listened to them. And as well, of course, there is absolutely room for when people do need that extra support and they need medical professionals to step in. They need support lines, they need phone lines and different bits and pieces like that. But I think as a good starting point is communication. And just a friendly face.
Okay, what else? Okay, what are the more common types of mental illness or mental health problems, do you think?
I'd say the more common mental health problems are probably depression and anxiety. Also, quite often you do see come along with that PTSD. Aside from that, I think every mental health problem is unique, but I think most prevalent is probably depression and anxiety.
Okay, do you believe the government are doing enough to support this?
Absolutely not. That's my own personal opinion. I don't feel the government are doing enough to support it. I think there's been a lot of talk but not enough action, and I think it's great that they've opened up this dialogue and that people are having this conversation, but I think it's about time we started to put some of these things into practice, some of these great ideas people are coming up with. And one of the biggest things they need is funding, and they need to back that with some real money.
I definitely agree to that. I was what I was going to say is, do you think there's enough awareness for mental health? Similar question, but
I think there is and there isn't. I think people are aware, but I think sometimes people are aware of perhaps the wrong facts. There's all this stuff in the media at the moment about fake news and all of these kind of things, but I think people get fake facts almost with mental health. One of the biggest ones is that less than 1% of all violent crimes, I read this somewhere, I can't absolutely guarantee, but it's somewhere around this mark.
Yeah.
Less than 1% of all violent crimes are committed by people with mental health problems. People seem to think that every single person that gets attacked out on the street, oh, they must be in quote unquote a nutter, or something along these lines. And just these offhand comments and the way people are able to just use these words and think it's okay. It's not. It's damaging, it's judgmental, and it means that the people who come to this centre on a daily basis go out into the high street and they just don't feel secure.
Yeah. I was about to say, all of a sudden they put like labels on themselves. I'm this and that, but they're actually not.
Yeah, and there's so many great people out there that are willing to help and that do understand, but it's so easy, just human nature to harp on the negative. I mean, you could be told 10 compliments and one bad thing, and that bad thing is going to stick with you. And I think if we can just keep focusing on getting the message out there that it's not something to be ashamed of, maybe they won't feel so bad when they do hear that one negative comment, 'cause it's always going to happen.
Yeah.